May 22nd, 2014. Our agenda this afternoon will cover a few housekeeping issues. I'll do some introductions of your hosts, myself and my colleague Alan, and we will spend the majority of our time doing a live demonstration of ProclaimCRM, and we'll save a few minutes at the end for some Q&A time. I expect that we will go 60 minutes, and I expect we will take the whole 60 minutes. We keep adding new features to Proclaim, so it's getting tough to decide what to keep in and take out so that we can stay within the 60-minute time frame. Anyways, for housekeeping, you should have the GoToWebinar utility bar up on your screen, and if you have any questions, you can type them. In addition to questions at the end of the webinar, we'll pause throughout and address questions as they come up to try and keep the within the right context of what we're looking at. And if you have any audio or video problems of any kind, also please use that panel and we will have someone assist you right away. My name is George Delp. I'm the Director of Sales for ProclaimCRM, and assisting me this afternoon is Alan Camp, who is our Inside Sales Manager. He's got a nice smile there, Mr. Camp. And as I said, we're going to cover a lot of stuff this afternoon, so if it feels a little fast, it might be. I'm going to record this, and provided there's no major hiccups, so we can go up on YouTube. I do have prior webinars on YouTube as well, so you can go back and look at things. We also have a set of other demo videos and stuff that provide information in on various different topics. So before we get started, Alan, are we good with audio, video with anybody? Any comments, questions?
Yeah, so far we're good. No issues to deal with.
Thank you, sir. So before we dive into the product, I get this question all the time. Why Proclaim? What makes you guys so great? Why should I do this instead of that? I mean, if you search hard enough, go to a site called Capterra, you'll see 150 different church management software solutions out there. So I will guarantee nothing out there is going to do 100% of what you are looking for in a system. I mean, it's just impossible to do everything. But 78 to 80% is pretty common for the better, more well-regarded packages. So what we're going to focus on today is to show you how you can address that final 20 to 30%. And we'll do that by highlighting our customization reporting, and we'll talk a little bit about the integration capabilities, but not show that so much because that would take the whole hour. And where we're going with this is, ProclaimCRM allows you to bridge the gap. You get something, you get a good foundation, and then you can tweak it to be your system. All the time people say to me, George, I can't believe other churches aren't asking for this. And, when I first got into this, I thought it'd be real cookie cutter, but every church is unique. Every church has a different focus. One day I'm talking volunteers, the next it's all about small groups. The others, they're trying to, increase donations, so that's all they want to talk about. It varies from church to church to church. So ProclaimCRM, there's two major components that you pay for. So there's ProclaimCRM, which is designed for church staff, and then we have the Member Portal, which is designed for your church members. We'll take a look at both of these today. They're both web-based, so they run on multiple browsers, Safari on your Macs, you got your Chrome, Internet Explorer, and Firefox. And with ProclaimCRM, there's also several other applications that are bundled with it. There's Mobile Express. We'll take a quick look at that, let you access all the screens on a smart device. There's a check scan application that speeds up the contribution entering process. And then there's a check-in application that's really slick. It runs on tablets. It's an iPad app, so it looks real nice in your lobbies and such. Much better than a squeaky wheelie cart with a big old PC with cables sticking out everywhere. So I got two screenshots just to speed things up here, then we'll do live demo. ProclaimCRM, ease of use. This is a common request I get from most people. I want something easy to use. Well, who doesn't? At the top of the screen, there's buttons. It has a Microsoft Office look and feel to it. And that's because it's built on Microsoft technologies and Microsoft CRM. So these buttons, they're context sensitive. They'll change. And then on the left-hand side of the screen will be your main menu. It kind of looks like Outlook if you've ever used Outlook. And then the big part of the screen is the information display panel, and that might be showing a form, a dashboard, or even a list. So, I mean, the basics of, well, any system like this, it's going to be lists of data, and then you look at forms that show information about the individual records. So there's a quick search box, which is the easiest way to look stuff up. You can sort A to Z, Z to A on any columns, navigate by letter. There's lots of filters you can set up, and we'll do that. So the whole system kind of looks like this. So I could be looking at contributions, funds, attendance, or we'll spend a lot of time today looking at people. So speaking of people, before I pull up the person form, like every form in our system, you can turn fields on and off. So, I have everything turned on, so there's a lot there. And there's some stuff added from various demos that sometimes I forget to take stuff back out. And another point is people can be members of multiple families in our system. We use the person record as the lowest common denominator and then build that up into family units. So we're not going to look at everything on the person record. We'll look at some of the more unique capabilities here. So to log into ProclaimCRM, you just set up a shortcut, and if I had not been logged in already, it would ask me for my user ID and password. And you can default to any screen. I'm defaulted to a dashboard. But let's just click on people. It's going to bring up a list of people. So like I said earlier, if I type Brad, okay, there's Brad. I hit the enter key, everyone with the name Brad showed up. But if I type Adams, I'll get more records. I get everyone with Adams in their name. Now we're going to spend a lot of time looking at our good friend Bradley here. There he is. And all these sections, so everything's closed here. You can set these to default to open or closed when you open a form. And you have your basic stuff, phone numbers, member status, address, picture. This here, let's switch this to the member status field. So this is used in assimilation. These values can be set to, you can change the names and make them what you want because everyone uses different terms. But when I switch this back to first-time visitor, it's going to fire off a workflow that will tie into some other things we'll show you later. Upload pictures. AVS is built in. It's no charge in the U.S. Unfortunately, in Canada, we couldn't find a free one. We integrate with Smarty Streets, and it's free for not-for-profits and churches. So if I change the address, it'll prompt me to verify the address. What I wanted to show you on here, though, is the family quick entry grid. So as you look at this, you can see here are all the other people records that are related to Bradley. If you need to add a new family member, you just click Add Person, and it pops up. All you got to do is add the first name, last name is already there, birth date, gender, and relationship. Now this is smart the way this works. So to enter a family, you enter Brad, the head of household, then just enter the rest of their family. And let's open up Jerry here, and you'll see his family grid. It creates all the relationships. So you can see here that it automatically, knew that Deborah and Bradley were the parents and that Marjorie was his sibling. And, we could keep on going. There he is. And creating additional family members. Now, spouse, child, parent, that type of stuff, those are basic relationship types. But if we go down to our social section and look at connections, you can see that you can add other connection types. So you can connect any person to any other person or to yourself and do custom, like you could do neighbors or friends or grandfather or you name it. So you can set up a whole web of relationships and then report on that or do other information. Like if you're having trouble getting a hold of somebody, maybe you could look up their friends or neighbors and reach out to them to see if they know what's going on, as an example. Now let's go back to the main screen. Some other things that I wanted to point out. This alert bar is kind of cool. It shows up, and I only have one alert right now, but we had a church that they get pagers for a care center. It's like a major food pantry. You get a pager when you show up, and people were walking off with the pagers, so they wanted alert bars in the top red-hand part of the screen. So that's what we did. You can have these things manually enter them, or you can manually create them as well. So like if someone's person status was set to deceased, I had one church that wanted to add an alert at the top because unfortunately they were calling people that had passed away and greatly upsetting the rest of the family. So they wanted alerts and some high-level notification of stuff like that. But you name it, you can make as many as you want. Just click this button to add a new one. You can add new types. It's really pretty much everything in the system. You can add additional types and make it your own. Some of the other things I wanted to point out on here, a lot of people like the audit history as well. So anytime that there is a change to the person record, like for example, just a few minutes ago at 2:08 p.m., I changed the membership status field from prospective member to first-time visitor. And you can search just by specific field, all fields. The point of this is that we find in a church environment, a lot of times you might have volunteers working, and mistakes are made. This allows you to fix things, and it allows you to have a trail of what the old data is. So my point to this is it's really hard to permanently mess up your data. You always have the trail to go back and fix things. Now you may be wondering what this paperclip is here. What this shows up, if you click this, it scrolls down to the Notes and Activities section, but you can type an unlimited number of notes. You just enter a new note, start typing, and you can attach files. And it's not just one file per record. You can attach as many files as you want as well. So if you want some agreements or permission forms, for events, you name it, this notes and file attachment is available on every record type in the system. Let's see if we left anything out. Background checks. Yeah, background checks and personal dates. Personal dates, I grew up Catholic, so we have the sacraments, marriage, communion, confirmation, but you can set up as many personal dates as you want and then track those in the system. I point this out. It seems like a rather basic thing, but a lot of people do ask about this. How would you track certain dates? And then what's nice about this is, you can look at, these are Bradley's personal dates, but if we went to personal dates here, this would be all the personal dates in the system. You see most are for Bradley, but you can do some neat things here like filters. So we hit the filter button, and we could filter by a specific type of personal date if we wanted. So if we just wanted to see all First Communions, now we have a new list, and you can export that to Excel or do lots of other neat things. We'll look more at some of the data export in just a little bit. So back to Bradley, the other thing I wanted to point out, a lot of people often ask about background checks. So we have integrated background check capability, and it works two ways. The first way, it's more of a manual way. You upload, like earlier, you upload a file attachment. You do an expiry date, passed, failed, type, and that way you can have queries or alerts pop off when something is about to expire and you need to rerun it. But the second, so that's if you're using anybody except for Protect My Ministry. If you use Protect My Ministry, you hit the Begin Check button, and it actually punches out to the Protect My Ministry website with all the information about the person. Except their social, we don't store that, so you enter that. And you can order all of the different types of things that you sign up for. I mean, Protect My Ministry, it's a separate service, so you pay them direct for that. We just link out to it. And then when you're done with that, you can actually view the results in here. We're right with it from ProclaimCRM. So, oh, that one might have expired. Oh, there we go. Anyways, there we are. So there's the result, and we do not automatically do pass or fail on background checks solely because it's too risky to accidentally pass somebody. We'd rather a human make a call and go ahead and pass. Sometimes these things need some interpretation. So those are some basics on the person record. Now, in connection to the person record, we have activities. And you have all different types of activities. And the key thing here in Proclaim is that activities are either open or closed. So if I'm on Bradley's record here, and I click on activities, here are all of the activities assigned to Bradley. Now you can see I have a whole lot of phone calls I need to make to Bradley. We can click on one of these. You can see a lot of information. Please call Bradley. This phone call was actually scheduled by a workflow, so this was automatically created. And it was automatically created when someone was set to first-time visitor. It's all going to come together by the time we're done here. And you can type in here and be done and then mark the phone call complete. And then instead of being an open activity, it shows up as a closed activity. So then you can look at all of the closed activities. And again, these filter buttons are nice because if you hit filter, you can filter by activity type or date range, and it makes it real easy to find things in the past. Now, active phone calls are nice, but you can also add tasks, emails, all types of different activities. And if you want to add something that's not in this list, you can set up if you're a power user, you can create custom activity types like hospital visits or prayer requests. And then they show up in your filter list. So it makes, again, this is how you bridge the gap. You tweak the system to make it your own. You don't work around. You don't put data in some other field with a different name just because it's available. You make what you need. So that's a little bit about activities. You can do queues, so you can have queues where you could have multiple people, like take the next call. If you do your connection cards, enter those, create 100 phone calls, you could have a queue, and then you have 5 people just take the next call out of the queue. And Alan, do we have any comments or questions before we move on?
No, George, it's a quiet group so far, so let's keep going.
All right. Now, I know not everybody uses Outlook, but if you do, we do have a real strong Outlook integration. And what it does is it adds a toolbar to your Microsoft Outlook with this Set Regarding button. This is the key one right here. When you hit this, so let's say I'm typing an email to a member, and I hit this button, I can pick from the list of members in my database, and it will automatically import that email into ProclaimCRM, so it's viewable in the history. It also works with appointments and tasks, and you can do custom mappings between Outlook and CRM. So it's real handy to keep you could just do a lot in Outlook and bang, you don't even have to go into Proclaim to upload stuff into it. Now I don't have Outlook, you say. Well, I have good news. Microsoft has a whole bunch of money they set aside to help not-for-profits and churches get Office-type products and other stuff, as you can see on the list here, if not for free, for really cheap. So you may already know about this type of offer, but if you don't, here's this big, long URL that I expect you to memorize. There. Just kidding. Well, I'll send you this PowerPoint as soon as we're done. So if you do want this, you'll have that URL and you can check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to see if you might be eligible for some of this stuff. I've had some churches get a whole bunch of stuff for free, including SharePoint and some other neat applications.
So, George, we have had one question come in related to that.
Okay, shoot.
Does it integrate with Microsoft Outlook for Mac?
That's a great question, and the answer is no, it doesn't. It only works with Microsoft Outlook for Windows. I don't know if they're going to change that in the future. With Ballmer retiring, it looks like they're a little more open to cross-platform operability, but I can't make any promises. So, great question. And unfortunately, not the answer I want to give, but it is how it exists. Anything else, Alan?
No, George, let's keep going.
Okay. So we're going to look at dashboards next. And a lot of times people say, George, our system is great for putting data in, but not so great for getting data out. So I'm going to show you some of our dashboard and reporting capabilities next. Aside from looking really pretty, they're real time and you can drill down on them. So let's go back and take a look at a dashboard. So you can make as many as you want. Anytime we're looking at a list or a dashboard, you can set up as many different versions as you want. You can set up your own, or if you're a system administrator, you can set up system level ones and push them to people, so they have to have them. So here's attendance. We're real good for multi-site churches too. We have that all built in, so line graphs, bar charts, pie charts. Here is, I got to go in and delete all these demo ones. They're getting kind of long again. Let's take a look at this people dashboard here. So if you remember that membership status field, well, that's what this funnel here does, is it takes all the people records. I have about 350 or so in the system in my demo data. And it does a little chart, so I can look at, you know, first-time visitors, members, regular attendees, and such. You know, here's a age distribution. Here's a pie chart with perfectly spaced pies for people by city and other stuff down here. Anyways, let's take a look at this pie chart here. So, I mean, you can make it bigger, you know, to copy out into a presentation or whatnot. But let's look at the records that were used to create that chart. So when you hit that button in the upper right-hand corner of the dashboard of the component, it brings up a list of all the records that are made up in this chart. And let's click on the blue section. So now if I click on the blue section, I have all of the first-time visitors. You know, there they are. Now, you can even continue to drill. So let's say I needed to send just the first-time visitors in a particular city. So we'll click city, and we'll go again. And I have a new chart. Here's first-time visitors in Charlotte. And if I click on Charlotte, you can see there's 6 of them. And I could print that list out. I could export it to Excel and then email it. So we'll just do a static worksheet. And there we are. And, you know, I could just say, hey, I'm going to share this with my buddy Alan. And now he has a list of people and their phone numbers to call. I mean, this is just one way to do things. I mean, this is this way, you know, you wouldn't have to have someone get in the system. Now, you can actually do things where you can export spreadsheets and have people update them and then re-import the spreadsheets as well, which is kind of a neat trick. So you could do mass editing or updating using spreadsheets. Now, if you want to make a dashboard, that's real easy to do as well. The first thing I'll show you is how you make a chart. So we're just looking at a list. Here in this case, people. You click on chart up in the ribbon. And you just say new chart. And you pick your type of chart. You have all your different types down here. And you pick your x-axes and your y-axes, and then you make a chart. It's like a dumbed-down version of Excel charting. So just wanted, because charts are one of the things we add on a dashboard. So if we want to make a new dashboard, we go to Dashboards, and you click New, and it makes a new dashboard. We can pick a 2-column layout, and we just call this Demo. And you can add a chart, you can add a list, and you can also add iframes and web resources. We're not going to do that today, but that's like inserting a web page in your dashboard. Web resources, you can insert whole programs within dashboards and do some pretty neat things. Hey, Alan, we got a question?
Yeah, we got a great little question here. Going back to the Excel stuff. Now we have a couple of questions. So,
Okay.
Can you do a mass import of existing church data in Proclaim using Excel?
Yes, you can. While we're here, I'll just show you real quick. It actually, we'll just go to like contribution data. We always import that. So here's a list of contributions. When you see here, import data, you just hit this button and it will create an Excel template for you that you can then populate, or you can just make a straight up CSV file and map it and import it. So there's a couple ways to do that. It'll make a template for you with all the required fields, or you just hit import data, browse out to a file, and then map it. So pretty easy to do. That's how we get the data in. Other questions, Alan?
Well, George, you just took care of the second question, whether or not there was a template for importing data.
Okay, yep. And what's really neat about those templates is I'll show you later how we add custom fields to the system. And those if you add your own custom user fields, those templates will know that, and they will include those custom user fields. So that's kind of cool. So, okay, dashboards. Here's my demo.
George, we actually have one other question that has come in.
All right, go ahead.
So, if you give a volunteer a spreadsheet of people to call, and the volunteer enters notes on the spreadsheet, basically, can these notes be uploaded back into Proclaim to the respective records?
They can, but it would not be that exact same spreadsheet. We'd have to do an activity type spreadsheet, but that is actually, I was talking with some of our consultants today about some ways to do that, and that is definitely something that would be able to be done. So you could do a spreadsheet, or we actually also, there's a lot of these form websites that let you build little forms. People could go online and enter info. So we've actually developed a mapping utility for, I think it's FormStack, and it can work with some of the other ones too. So there's lots of ways to get data in. Anything else, Alan?
Not at the moment, George.
Okay. So this is my demo dashboard here. I click the Insert Chart button. So we can pick any, record type in the system. So we'll pick person. And then you pick a view or a filter. So I have a lot already set up. We'll pick people greater than 55. And then you pick your chart. So people by city. Let me do a pie chart. People by city pie chart. So it's people greater than 55. We can add a list of that same thing. A list only has two things to select. You just have to select the record type and the filter. And just save and close. And I made a dashboard. That's a simple example, but there it is. So, Alan, we good? More questions or query time?
Hey, it's query time.
All right. So in ProclaimCRM, you can search or filter on any field in the system, including custom fields. And you can save these. That's how, like that people greater than 55, that was actually a query that I made and saved. And you can share them. You can, if you're a system administrator, you can push them out to people. So let's just go ahead and make a simple query. And it's not just filters, it's also the columns. So this is an area that people like a lot. So let's go to people, because people are easy to think about. Like we're just doing a simple address query. So you hit the Advanced Find button. There's my list of people. And our default query is simple. It's an active record, and we take out anonymous donor. That's used for anonymous giving, to kind of a catch-all for that. But we don't want it on the regular people list. So I just click, I can add new fields, and this is every field in the system related to people. So I could just say address 1, city equals Charlotte. And what's nice is you don't have to save the query and run it. We can just preview the results. So you can tweak it, and then go back to Advanced Find. You're like, that isn't exactly what I wanted, and then change it. Now you can also search related record types, and this is something that we do. We can do some neat things in it. So, for example, I had a church ask me. They said, George, I need to be able to send an email to the parents of all the children who have registered for this specific event. So we needed to return email addresses, but what we needed to query on was children records that had a registration record to a specific event. So what we did is we created, I'll show you exactly what we did. Demo middle school parents. So this is much more complex one here. So we did it starts out with, the high level is the parents. So we're people records active, they're a member of a family, and they're connected as a parent to another person. And so then this other person who they're connected to has an event registration record for an event equal to middle school event. And then we edited the columns and added the email address, and then that, boom, it gives us this huge list of 2 people. But that's what you get with demo data. So anyways, very powerful tools. This is a real simple example here. Hey, Alan, we got a question?
Yeah, we've had a couple just come in.
Okay.
The first one is, can it tell me what percentage of guests or visitors we turned into members, or how many members we added to our serve team per month or per quarter?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we talk about reporting, there's a couple of different levels. So what I'm showing you right now is query, or basically list building. When you're talking about doing metrics like that, you actually want to do a report. And we have a built-in reporting wizard, and a lot of times that can do what you're asking for. But if that doesn't, then you can actually write a report using something called Microsoft SQL Reporting Services. This is a Microsoft SQL Server-based product, and that would be the third way, provided we don't have an out-of-the-box report that does what you need. We're constantly adding new reports. We try not to add too many because, we don't want 5,000 versions of one report. That just causes confusion. But we do have some neat ones. I'll show you some examples. So as long as the data is in the database, you can generally write a report to do that. Other questions, Alan?
Yeah, this one might be a little easier for you. Can emails be sent through Proclaim?
Yep. I'll show you that in just a little bit. Here, I'll just highlight Bradley and boom, send email. That's a simple way to do it. You can also do mass emails. We're not a complete replacement for like a Constant Contact or MailChimp. Those do some other things we don't do, but we do. You can send single or mass emails using templates out. So we just don't have as much of the like open and link click tracking and stuff like that. That's where the Constant Contact and MailChimp have, that's what they do that we don't. So back to here. So here's my simple add Charlotte. Now we can change the columns. So on this, so if you want to change what it looks like, we just say, I didn't mean to click OK, I meant to click delete. So we'll remove that, and remove that, and remove that. And if we say OK, now if we click on results, you can see I just have 2 pieces of data. Now if we go back and edit columns again, I can add columns. And you can add columns of related record types too here. But if we were going to do a mailing list, we could do city, state, zip, and street. And now there's my new query. So, and you can set the default column widths here too to be a little bigger as needed. So that's how easy it is to make queries on here. Now, some of the questions we got about doing some more, making intelligence out of this data. That's where you want to use reports. So I mentioned there's a built-in reporting wizard, and you access that just by going to dashboards. Not dashboards, by going to reports. And, here's again, filters and groups of reports, so you can keep nice little short lists of your frequently used reports. But if you want to do a new one, it walks you through a wizard. It's real similar to what we just looked at creating queries, except it will also ask you for subtotaling and totaling. And we'll just give this a second. It's the first time I've clicked on this week. Sometimes stuff takes a second to spin up the first time you click on it after a server reboot. But you walk through the report wizard, and so it does everything we just looked at, but then you can subtotal or total. Now, if you want to do more advanced calculations, either we or you, or I'm hard-pressed to find churches that don't have any members that have SQL reporting services talents, because there's just thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people across this country who know that. It's not proprietary. It's the opposite of proprietary. Let me just put it that way. And what you can do with the SRS reports is inline formatting and advanced calculations. And then no matter how you make the report a query, you can add it to menus. So real easy to do. This pattern change, this is, you can read that later. We'll just look at it. So this is an example of one that has some calculations. We did this at our first client, and they wanted a way to identify, people who had stopped attending. And they don't take, a lot of the larger churches especially don't take actual attendance, service attendance, because it's just not practical, especially if you're getting up in the thousands. But when people stop giving, they generally stop attending. So in my demo data, everyone gives on the first of the month. So this calculates the average giving frequency. And then up here, we put a deviation amount, 14. So what this report does is when average giving frequency plus deviation amount equals 45, it'll highlight them in red. So that means this person is not given in 45 days. And that's say, hey, we might need to see what's going on there. Generally, people aren't finding what they're looking for when they stop giving and attending. The other thing it does, it can also do a change on the amount. So any average, it calculates the average gift amount and then looks at the last amount and calculates a percent. And if it's huge, it'll highlight it. I had one guy, he wanted me to do a positive one too. He's like, this is all negative, George. Can we have a green box that shows an exceptionally, generous gift? So, all types of different things you can do. Now, you can write these reports on your own. We can do them for you, or we have a great support team that, can guide you through if you just have a few questions on how to do this. But the key is the data's there, it's open, there are 9 proprietary tools that you can use to get at it. So I've yet to come across a situation where as long as the data was there, we've always been able to report on it. This is another one. It's a little more simple. It's good for your bank. Shows your funds, amounts pledged, amounts contributed to date, whether you're behind schedule or on schedule. So I call this kind of the bank fund report. We call it the fund. Actually, technically, we call it the fund performance report. So any more reporting questions, Alan? We've had some good ones. So
yeah, we just had something come in here.
Okay.
Can he cover the member web portal?
We will, and I am going to get to that at about 2:50, if you can hang tight. All right, workflows. Workflows allow you to automate things in the system. They can be automatic or on demand, and they can be triggered by basically any change in the database. And they can do things, they can also send emails, update records, and whatnot. So let's just take a look at what a workflow looks like. So we're going to click on Settings. I get a whole new menu here of all of powerful stuff. We'll go to Processes, and we'll look at all of the processes and look at this assimilation process. So what this is, it's really pretty simple. All this, so this is a workflow. It's going to run when a record is created or when a field is changed, the member status. And then down here, this is where all the good stuff is. The white, this is just manual comments that describe your workflow step. And then when you're inserting steps, it's just a wizard. So you insert an if statement. So it's if something, then do this. So when you, we'll walk you through it. So if person membership status equals first-time visitor. So what you do is you insert the if, the check condition. It'll say what record, what field, what value, and then it creates the blue stuff for you. And then, so this is an if, then. So it's going to send an email and create a phone call. So, I mean, this is real easy to set up. It's just a template editor. You pick your fields over here. Then you put it over here. You can do dynamic values, so you can, if you have a new record entered, you can schedule a call for tomorrow instead of instantly. Neat stuff there. And then if we pop over to my email here, you can see here is one, please call Bradley, welcome him to the church. Here's his phone number and whatnot. So this was received, today at 2:10 p.m. So, I mean, that was that workflow in action. I actually have it running. So let's go back to here. So, I mean, that's workflow. that you can do custom workflow steps, and you can do a whole lot more. I just want to introduce this. This is the type of feature that it's the gift that keeps on giving. You will never you'll never have a shortage of things that you can do to continue to increase efficiencies. You know, let's say you enter a person record and you want to automatically create group membership records, you know, for teens to the teen group, women to the women's group, etc. You can set up workflows to do that and, you know, save hours of time. You know, these hours add up eventually in the, you know, full-time positions that you can then use for other things, you know, other things to better serve your team instead of doing, you know, busy work. Have the computer do the busy work. Have the people do the mission-building stuff. We also have dialogues, which are scripted, and they allow you to ask questions, answers. I'm not going to walk through it. I'll just show you an example here, just due to time. But like, you know, thanks for calling, visiting. You know, do you have a few minutes? Yes or no. And what it pops these questions up on the screen, and it captures the data and stores the data, the answers in the system. So, you know, yes, I have time. No, it'll reschedule, and, you know, answer all these questions. It even it looks up like the event orientation session events for the next 2 months, pops them up on the screen. You click a button, it schedules the person. Really cool stuff. It helps ensure the consistency of your interactions and completeness of the data gathered with your members and potential members. So customization next. Now it's unlimited. You can add as many fields, forms. You can even make new record types. And you can literally make your own modules. You know, like we don't have an education module, but you could create something like that. And I've seen people do some pretty neat things around that. Now, we'll just do a simple customization to show you how easy it is. So if I go to People, and we're just going to do a form customization. We're not adding record types or doing anything like that. But just click Customize up here. And you've got to be a power user to do this. Your normal users, you don't want everybody doing this. That would be nuts. So we go to Customize mode. And, you know, here we are. And you can see it change. So I can move fields around, you know, like that. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I can hit the undo button. I love the undo button. And then here's all the people-related fields. But let's say I want to add a field that doesn't exist. So we'll say new field. And we'll call it favorite ballpark food. Since it's that time of year, you see it automatically names it. You can do field level security on custom fields. You can make fields required, not required, recommended. Red asterisk is required. Field security, auditing, yeah, we'll just give it a quick description. And we'll do a, you know, you can do all types of field types here. We'll do a simple data set. So peanuts, peanuts. Hot dogs, and popcorn. And we'll save and close that. I'm creating a field. And we'll just scroll down. And demo favorite. Ballpark food. I did the underscores. Okay. So there it is. And we save this. And then we publish. And it's going to publish my customizations. And I just added a new field and taught you how to do it at the same time. And you could see that just took a minute. Now you can add sections, change the headers, the footers. I mean, there's a lot more that you can do here. So just want to point that out. So I'll just refresh my screen here. And there's demo favorite ballpark food. I don't know why I did the underscores. It looks bad on the label. Anyways, I could go back and change that. So Bradley's, he likes peanuts, so we'll save and close that. There's another cool feature here. You can do mass editing. So I clicked on A. All the people, last name starts with A, and we can edit that. And all these people like peanuts. And then B, all these people like hot dogs. And then we could easily do we'll do a new advanced find, call this 0522-2, and let's just add our new field to this. And we'll make that a little wider. And we'll save that. And now, demo 05, just got to refresh, and then it will show up. There's my new list with my new field. I can hit the filter button, and I just, it all, just like I said, any custom thing you do just all gets put right into the system. So that's a quick example on customization. Any questions, Alan?
Well, there was one, but you already took care of it. It was, can you mass update or change records?
Okay, yeah. And you can also do an export import with Excel too to do that. Now, again, we are limited on time, and I want to make sure we get to the portal. So, we pledges and funds, contributions. We have check scanning and MagTech units, contribution statements. We'll actually look at that in the portal in 1 second. You can email them. You can print and mail. You can do a combination. It's a screenshot of what it looks like in the portal. Small groups, we'll look at some of the stuff we have in the portal for that, so that's actually kind of cool. And this is actually out of date as of last Friday, so there are some new capabilities here that I'm about to show you, but it's still pretty close. Event management, we do one-time recurring events. You can assign volunteer positions to events, and it can actually, I'll show you. You assign skills to people, and they can pick their own skills in the portal. And then if you have an event, you can assign in a position, like you might need an usher, and then you look for people with the ushering skill, and it'll see who's available, and you can send them all emails. They can, decline, confirm, and then be ready to go for that. It'll send back to the system that, they're available or, they declined, etc. And this all works with check-in. No one's asked about security, so I'll just leave these here for you to read if you want them later. So check-in, again, I added a whole bunch of detail slides on this. So again, here's what it looks like. That's a stand. You can do tabletop stands too, labels, printers, and there's 2 modes. There's an assisted mode for church staff and then a standard mode for church members. Assisted mode lets church staff add new people, reprint key tag, or assign new key tags, all kind of stuff. We got a question, Alan?
Yeah, there's a question that's come in. Will you be able to talk about event registration and importing information from QuickBooks?
Yeah, we can. Make a note on that. Well, I'll show you that in the portal. Never mind. And then if we want to talk more, I actually have a call at 3:15, but we can stay a few minutes later or schedule another follow-up call. So this is what it looks like on your smartphone. This is Bradley's person form. So, you have all your different type of record types. You click on it. You can actually edit this stuff on your phone, too. That's not a lot of fun because it's small, but it is handy to look up phone numbers and addresses while you're on the go. So I promised we'd get to the member portal by 2:50, and it's 2:49. So let's go. Let's go to the member portal. So let's do some Chrome here. So you can skin this, logo, colors, fonts. You can do quite a bit to skin this and make it look like your church. And I'll log in here. And this is the main dashboard, so there's lots of things that you can do here. This setup option, this is only for admins, so your members won't see this, but everything in the portal, there's lots of configurations. So like if you don't want to use the directory, you just tick Hide Directory and the directory goes away. So it's real easy to change things here. But let's go ahead and look at the profile. We'll kind of go from right to left. So your members can update their basic information, their phone number. Oh, Bradley, you are a male. And you can have some privacy settings for like emails and phone numbers. You can text from here, from the portal, so that's where the mobile phone carrier is captured. Texting options, and then you can add and edit your family members here too. So members can do that. Now I talked about the talents or skills. So here's, this is just demo data. That's why I've had stuff entered twice. But Bradley has, well, he can do everything, it looks like. So this is where they can edit their skills. Now, next up is there is a directory. And this is one people are 50-50 on. Some people think it's too much information available. So here is a, you can search it just like we were searching for people earlier. And people can control what's shown, and you can actually have kids not show up because, well, I don't think there's a reason I need to explain that. Events and event sign-ups. So here's an event calendar, and it shows all, the events coming up, and youth group weekly field trip. So what it does is it shows all of the, this one you have to pay for. Events could be free or you can have to pay for them. So if I register for this one, it's going to cost me 25 bucks. So there's a description. Let's click register. And I can register my whole family too. So let's register my whole family. And we have this neat new, well, it's not that new now. But you can set up an unlimited number of event registration questions. So like for this event, Bradley, he's a big guy who eats roast beef, and Deborah's a regular sized person who likes her tuna, and then the kids will be fine with their turkey sandwiches. And then all this information is stored on the event, so you can then do a report, a query, whatnot, and have all your event question data. We also have the ability where you can do, for options can have costs associated with them. Like you could have, do you want a t-shirt, yes or no, and yes would be another $10, so that instead of being 25, it'd be 35. So lots of neat things you can do with that. But, okay, so we answered all our questions. We'll add it to the cart. Now what we do with the shopping cart is we put everything in a shopping cart because let's say Bradley wanted to do a contribution as well. So he can do a one-time or a recurring contribution. You'll have a summary of your recurring contributions shown up here so you can edit or cancel them. Church staff can edit too. Like if you have members that want to call, instead of go online and do it themselves, they can call and you can fix things too. But, the funds, this is cool. Let me pick mission trips. Now I have sub-funds. So you can actually make the fund display real easy so you don't have 5,000 funds show up. And you can control what funds show up in the portal too. You generally only want a couple so things aren't confusing. But so Bradley's going to do a $100 donation to, well, his own. Let's do the general fund, Bradley. So, and then we'll check out. But we put this all in one shopping cart so you only it minimizes your credit card fees. Now, we don't charge a transaction fee, and that's, from what I'm learning, we're pretty unique in that. Most people do on top of the credit card fee. Now, we work with Authorize.net and CashLink, and they're going to charge you, but we don't. You just buy the portal and you can do whatever. And then we do promo codes. there's all different types, you know, buy one, get 1% off, you name it. So, but then if you check out, it's a standard checkout, you know, credit card, and, you know, it'll go through. And pretty much everyone's been through this process before. Some on the groups. So here's a list of the groups that Bradley is a member of, and he's a leader of quite a few. So I'll click on Choir first. You can see here he just has a, he can see the group-related calendar, which is just going to be items related to that group, but he can also email or text members of his group. So, and what's nice about this is it doesn't use his own email. It sends it straight from the portal itself. So you always have a current list of who you want to email. Now, Bradley is the leader of Bible study, so he has more options. So some other things he can do, he can manage members. So he can add or remove them or change their role. And you have to be assistant leader or leader to get all the fancy options. And then looking people up, you can look up by name, by phone number, by email. So it's really, and if you can't find who you're looking for, a group leader can create a new person profile. And this, everything in here goes back to the main ProclaimCRM database. So that's some of the things that they can do. They can record meeting attendance. So this is nice. You pick the date, and then it'll just come up with a list of who you wanted to tick off as attending, and then it records specific group leader, small group attendance. You can also do attendance with check-in. Our check-in system was originally obviously designed for children's check-in, but it also can be used for other things. And announcements. They can do announcements here. It's a mini blog, you know, that all their group members will see, and then manage events. So they can create events and just click this button, and a group leader can create an event for his small group. So there's a lot of flexibility giving, and some of these features, if you've been on, I know I got a couple people on here who I think have been on a prior webinar. This is new. This was just released last week, the event creation part. So it's neat stuff. Email changes to members too. So our goal with this is to give as much power as we can to your members. You want your members to be empowered to be involved. So, you know, whether it's group leaders or volunteering is an area. And I had a conversation with somebody this morning. Eventually, we want to have activity updates in here, but that's just not there today. But we do have some other ways that we can work with that. Groups, volunteer. You can create volunteer opportunities and sign up for those, and that'll actually create a workflow where someone has to approve that. And the shopping cart shows up on the at the top of the screen. We added that because we had requests that people would fill out their shopping cart but forget to check out. So we just made it in your face, basically. And, you know, little section here of stuff you need to do. If you're a system admin, you'll have some other things here. These are utilities that assist with the online giving logs and such. So that's a real quick tour of the member portal. Any questions, Alan?
Yes, one has come in. Can you add other fields to the group attendance page so that the group leader can denote any prayer requests, needs, or questions?
So when I talk about customization, that's in Proclaim itself. The portal is more of a turnkey solution. That's a nice suggestion, and we are constantly adding things to the portal, but we do product changes in two ways. You know, customers can pay for those as part of an implementation, and, you know, anytime we add something, everyone gets the benefit of it. If it's something a lot of people will use, sometimes we'll even work with you on the rate, you know, maybe do a developer rate for customizations. Now, that gets you what you want immediately. The other thing is, we'll put it on our change request log, and we're always, every 2 weeks we're reevaluating what we're going to do for the next 2 weeks. But you'll probably get it. It just won't be immediately. So there's 2 ways to do that. So hopefully that answers that. And let me know if there's some more, Alan. Implementation approach, people always ask this, how long does it take? Usually it takes 60 to 90 days. Honestly, we could do it in a week or 2, but you guys have regular jobs and you got to get your data ready and all that, so that's what makes it take a little longer. I have a little Gantt chart in here that shows the major steps. There's data conversion, customization, report finalization. UAT stands for user acceptance testing. That's where we teach you how to write test scripts and do testing. We have a website, ProclaimCRM.com. We have a YouTube site too, youtube.com/ProclaimCRMTV. We got a bunch of nice videos on there, and I'll put this one up there as well. And here's how to contact us. We'd be happy to talk to anybody further, and I'll stay on the line for a couple more minutes. Otherwise, Alan will follow up with each of you with a copy of this presentation. And if you want, except one person asked that we don't call, so I promise we won't call, but we will send you an email with the PowerPoint. So, Alan, we have any more questions?
No, George, it looks like we're good.
All right. Well, everybody, I appreciate your time this afternoon. And like I said, we look forward to the opportunity to speak with you further about your church, your needs, your goals, and see if we might be able to help you achieve those. Have a great day. God bless. And one question. Okay, Alan.
Just came in at the last minute. Can you talk about QuickBooks?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Yeah, QuickBooks, we do exports. So with some systems, we have automated some higher-end systems like Intact, for example, which is like what a lot of people from QuickBooks migrate to. But with QuickBooks or other accounting systems, we have GL exports. So it's real easy to do that. And the information that is exported is contribution and event registration data. So that's the financial transactions in there. QuickBooks, I'd say half of our customers use QuickBooks, and the other half use, we even have customers use Shelby Accounting. They change out Shelby V5 for Proclaim and then keep the accounting and eventually change that too. So any other questions, Alan?
No, unless somebody's going to sneak one in at the last second here.
I know. Well, I was my bad on that last one. I forgot to answer it. So likewise, if anything else comes up, email us, and everyone have a great day. God bless. Thanks. Bye.